Alrighty folks, how you doing? You guys are in luck because my Xbox controller broke. This here it is. This motherfucker, see, it'll power on and all that shit, but it fucks up when I try to play the game and shit. So I gotta go to Walmart and get me another one tomorrow. So you guys are in luck. I'm gonna make, I made you 2 videos earlier. I'll make you another fucking video right now. Okay? So I will make this video with pleasure too. I'm very excited to make this video for you. This video is entitled Armenians and the Golden Race. Alright? So first of all, let's get to white people. Where do they come from? White people come from Mars. Okay? Since we got a little time and we're only going to isolate this to Armenian, there was 2 planets in our solar system that had white people on, and one of them was Mars. It also has an alternative name called Tutatis, Toutis, Tutatis, and the other planet was called Maldek, Malona, Tiamat. You've heard all those names before. You've heard Tiamat for sure. Okay. And so Tiamat was going to get blown up by the reptilians, the Draco reptilians. And the scientists on Tiamat knew that. So the people on Tiamat, who really is Maldek or Malona, whatever you want to call it, they were the good white people. They had a matriarchal society, and they were pretty fair with each other, and they had true spiritual development. What spiritual development means is that a portion of your society, a portion of your citizenry, live in an environment that is conducive to them graduating that particular organic sphere. So they actually have true soul development. Okay? True soul development is, people call it the spirit and all that kind of shit. It's just that you live a life as free of negative karma as possible. And this was those kind of white people, good ass white people. Arts, culture, love, insight, the intellect, the spirit, that all prevailed on that planet. But that's why the Dracos wanted to blow it up. Okay, so the scientists on that planet knew it, and there was another planet in our solar system that had white people on it, and it was close enough, and that was called Mars. Now, Tutatis, Mars. Okay, so they were like, they got with the Galactic Federation. Is there really a Galactic Federation? Yes, absolutely, there's a Galactic Federation, and they was like, okay, well, you guys are going to have to mass off planet because the reptilians, the Draco reptilians, are going to blow your planet up. And the way they're going to do it is they're going to put this gigantic ice comet about the size of the moon, about half the size of our moon, to hit Maldek, the planet they live on. And that it was big enough and their planet was small enough that it would pretty much just disintegrate their planet. Okay. And so they use what's called particle beam accelerators to control the trajectory of the giant ice comet, okay, to hit the planet of Maldek. These weapons that the reptilians were using were made by the Syrians of Syria, of the Sirius constellation. So in the Star Wars movies, as an example, you remember the cloners. Those are the Syrians. Those are the ones that made up those weapons. They just make them, and sell them to anybody, whatever. They have ethics though, but whatever the ethics that were needed to pass to be able to buy the weapons, the reptilians were able to, finagle that, and you could definitely believe that because all you gotta do is watch the way Senator Palpatine was. I mean, he literally convinced Amidala, Padme, that he would relinquish the power of the Senate as soon as the rebellion was quelled or whatever the fuck. And he was the fucking Dark Lord he was the Dark Lord of Sith. Or if he wasn't the Dark Lord, he was close to the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so mass off planet, and these they all go over to Mars. Galactic Federation, like, y'all gotta go to Mars. They're like, all right, we'll go to Mars. So they go to Mars, and they get there, and they don't get along with the motherfuckers on Mars. Now, is it true that a lot of people on Mars have red hair and all that kind of shit? Absolutely. Okay. So they don't get along with them. Because the Martians are more towards the patriarchal construct, stupid shit. And they're more bellicose and warlike, and more just aggressive and cantankerous and disagreeable, you know what I mean? And the more refined personalities of the Maldekians, that's an affront. That's it's just counteractivity, you know what I mean, to what they really are. So they really didn't get along with each other. But now neither one of these motherfuckers ain't pussies. Okay, so they start fighting with each other and shit. And what had happened was the ice comet is still coming towards their planet, and when it collides with them, with their planet to destroy it, before it does that, it removes the atmosphere off Mars because it gets so close to Mars in its trajectory and the explosion that, well, really the comet did it. So it actually removed the fucking atmosphere off the planet of Mars, the oxygen and shit. You could just walk outside and walk around and breathe and shit on Mars, okay? So what they did was, they had a lot of technology. These are smart people. So they put basically underground facilities, okay? And they all lived on the interior of the planet. I mean, that's some vast shit. So you got hundreds and thousands of miles of tunnel systems, cities and towns and neighborhoods and blah, 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 just like on the surface, what we have here on Earth. And a lot of planets, most planets, have what's called a central sun. That means that there's the capability to achieve light from a thermal source, from a thermal concentration like a sun, is actually on the interior of organic spheres of planets, especially an organic one, like Mars was. It had water, it had, rivers and, animals, all kind of shit, whatever. And so, they didn't get along with each other, these two different white people. And they started warring on the interior of the planet. And then they had a third element come along which made it even worse. And that's that the reptilians, the Dracos, knew that they didn't destroy all of the humans. Why do reptilians pursue humans to kill them? Because they simply just do. There ain't no explanation for it. The way reptilians see it is, they're superior to humans because their genetics do not change from environmental influence or time. A crocodile is the same goddamn crocodile today as that motherfucker was 2 million years ago. Whereas a human, being a mammalian, will adapt to environments. And humans can actually adapt themselves out of being human. Yeah. So, these Dracos land on Mars. And they go into the interior of the planet. Now, what's an example of the Dracos? The example of the Dracos is exactly all of the motherfuckers that are in Prometheus from Ridley Scott, the Aliens saga. So you got Prometheus. Prometheus is about the best example, really. And then that one that came after Prometheus, which was a prequel to Prometheus, or no, it wasn't a prequel. Anyway, You've seen the shit, all the alien sagas. That shit's legitimate. So they infiltrated to the interior of the planet, and they started to assault, eat, capture, incubate their young inside of the humans that were there. All that shit in the alien movie. That's legitimate. And you know, they would have to fight against these motherfuckers. And so they got back with the Galactic Federation. They're like, we have to get out of here because they're going to eventually, they're relentless. And we're not intelligent enough to offset their technology or whatever their biological technology is. And so they were like, yeah, okay. So they said, you got to go to Earth. There wasn't no white people here. This is 260, this is about 200 and, somewhere between 240 and 250,000 BCE. So they off-planeted motherships, actual flying craft and shit. Magnetic starships is what they're called. Okay. And they came to Earth. They landed basically in the Caucasus, like right there in Turkey and the Caucasus region, you know, Central Asia, Magyar regions, you know, the places where Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan were and all that kind of shit. So this is where white people landed at, the Caucasus Mountains, Cedar Forest, Turkey, you know, them kind of places like that. And so the Martian people, the red-haired, ones with a lot of red hair, the Martians, and there was also red-haired people amongst the Maldakians also. But the Maldakians were really primarily more Nordic-like. They were more like tall, blonde, very handsome, you know, very beautiful to look at, blue eyes, that's about right, you know, well proportioned, you know, just really beautiful people. And so they basically became like the Armenians. And the Earth liked those people. However, the Martians, the other ones, the Earth didn't like them because their vibration, their characteristics were a little too bellicose for the Earth at that time. And they were a little too, for lack of a better term, patriarchal. Okay? So, now when they landed here, Atlantis had already existed for about 10 to 15,000 years, fully in bloom. Atlantis basically was erected and came about at about 266,000 BCE. And Atlantis was founded by the Zapotecs. The Zapotecs are cumulatively Toltecs, Olmecs, and Aztecs. And they landed in Nazca, close to Peru in South America, at 268,000 BCE. They founded Atlantis. After they did that, they went around the world repairing a lot of the megalithic technology that was here, as well as establishing new megalithic technology. And their primary focus after they set up South America, the Yucatan, and the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico City, they primarily focused on places in India, China, the Caucasus, or and Eastern Europe, what we call Eastern Europe now, Bosnia, stuff like that, and India. Okay, and maybe a couple other places I'm not mentioning. But anyway, and they built Kemet. They rebuilt Kemet, which is Egypt. And so when the Earth killed the Martians, now on an organic sphere like we live on, you are subject to the vibratory characteristics of that sphere in your level of development. Because when you die and before you reincarnate, the cycle of reincarnation is about 2,000 years if you just die a natural death. And you actually go to the other planets that are in your solar system before you reincarnate after the 2,000 years. It's a long story. It's a way longer story than what this video calls for. So, the Earth killed those people. Now, you are supposed to just go by the cycle of reincarnation that's on this planet. However, the Earth, for a certain reason, which had to do with the ice comet hitting the planet of Malona earlier, had a valence around it, a water vapor, because of the ice that was in the atmosphere in the solar system. So it formed a water vapor. Now in the Bible it's called the firmament. Okay? And it's around the earth. Now in the many cultures throughout the world, the exact same word for spirit and God is water. So our spirit, or our individual soul, which you could say is spiritual, I guess, has a constituency. A physical constituency is 21 grams. So that 21 grams has awareness. It has all the awareness you could ever imagine. It has more awareness than you and me got by 1,000,000-fold. And it's you. So the entities that the Earth killed started to, of course, go in valence around this planet. Their souls. But their souls are interacting with the firmament, which gave the Earth a different constituent vibratory characteristic than it normally had. And so they were able to be self-aware as disembodied spirits. And they weren't supposed to incarnate, but they could, because they had self-awareness. And so what they started doing was pushing back into the Earth's atmosphere, into our physical atmosphere, onto the planet, onto the surface of the planet, out of turn. They weren't supposed to incarnate. They're supposed to wait for the natural incarnation period. They didn't. So this is your story of the fallen angels. Now they try to say that these are the Nephilim, the Watchers. They're not the Nephilim. They're not the Watchers. They're not. Fallen angels is a legitimate term. Okay? Because they all have special talents that they develop because of this characteristic I'm telling you about. And they started to mate with the animal kingdom. Like they could energetically mate with whatever animal was there. And then after they merged their energy with that animal, they could have sex with other animals. And what happened to them was, it's about when they merged their energy with whatever animal they wanted to, then they had sex with another animal of their species or whatever they were attracted to. They didn't know this, but that sexual activity made it so they could not push back out of that animal's body once they had occupied it energetically. They were stuck in it. And so that's what made that's what started the human de-evolution started at that time. Us de-evolving as a species. So the white race got us into de-evolving. Okay. And so to make a long story short, you come forward, blah, 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 blah. You got to find some way to fix this shit. So in Atlantis, there was lots of different megalithic sites that were developed that were aligned to some constellations sometimes, that were aligned to some geomantic points sometimes, that were aligned to certain mathematical configurations that we just simply don't understand, geometrical configurations that we just don't get, blah, 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 blah. And it was all designed to begin the process of healing or fixing our newfound association to the animal kingdom and de-evolvement. Okay. So we got that part out of the way. Now the Armenians were the good white people. And the Armenians, they didn't have any race problems. They didn't have any. When they saw another human being, they just saw another beautiful being. See, that's all they saw. They didn't give a flying fuck what color that motherfucker was. Blue, green, black, brown. They didn't have any prejudices against it. Okay, none. It didn't even occur to them. They just saw like, oh, that person's beautiful. So in the ancient world, I'm talking over 200,000 years ago, the Armenians race mixed with the Ethiopians. Now the Ethiopians were what would be termed today Israel. Okay, so that's supposed to mean some kind of enlightened spiritual shit or whatever. So the Armenians mixed with those people, and the Armenians became a golden race. They became even more. They became like the most dynamic race on the planet. Okay. They became just like the Zapotecs, Toltecs, Olmecs, or Aztecs. Maybe even better. Okay, because of that genetic mixture. You got a pure white motherfucker and a pure black ass motherfucker, and they make children together. There's no greater dynamic connection than that. There's nothing that's greater than that. Nothing. Period. If you ever get to see a European white person and they mate with an Ethiopian, ask them, can you see their children? Don't go by the mores of the world. Go by the mores of the spirit. You know, like, are they intellectual? Are they dynamic? Are they perceptive? Are they scientific? Are they what's their aptitude for shit? Are they creative? Are they versatile? Are they fluid? You'll find, and 100 other things, you'll find in those people. So now, if you read Douglas Reed's book, The Controversy of Zion, you'll about be able to probably logically agree with what I'm saying. Okay. So after they race mixed with the Ethiopians, I mean, you know, you couldn't. I mean, they're a golden race. I mean, you had years and years and years of development in that area. I mean, I'm talking about true spiritual development. True spiritual development probably beyond what you could imagine. And what the result of that became was, as one example, let's take this over to Kemet, over to Egypt. The influences of those people in the Caucasus and Central Asia, so the Tibetans, so they would have came out of this, the Tibetans. What color are Tibetans? They're all golden. See? So they would have come out of this union. The Tibetans would have come out of this union here. Okay? And just look at it. Just look at the influence of Tibet in Egypt. It's hidden. It's not even hidden anymore. It's just forgotten. People don't realize it. They don't know it. Like, as an example, the story of Saint Gregory of Armenia is almost the exact same story of Joseph of the coat of many colors in the Bible. Saint Gregory is imprisoned by the king of Armenia. The king of Armenia has some kind of problems, some kind of esoteric, occult problems. Can't figure something out. Saint Gregory's like, I got it covered. The king of Armenia is like, oh damn, shit, let that motherfucker out of jail, and then he puts him up to some really high post, and he becomes a saint. See, same as Joseph of the coat of many colors in Egypt. He's in prison. The Pharaoh has a dream. Nobody can interpret the dream. Joseph knows about it because he's a Tibetan monk. He's a high Tibetan lama. And he interprets the Pharaoh's dream. The Pharaoh's like, oh shit. Lets him out of jail, and the Pharaoh makes him the Pharaoh. Okay, I'm the Pharaoh now. 5 minutes later, this motherfucker's the Pharaoh because he's my spiritual superior, which is how it should be. So, this is all the influence of the Armenians. Okay, so now the Armenians, after they race mixed with the Ethiopians, they became what was called Christos, which means basically enlightened. Christos literally interprets as light of the heart. So, in other words, these motherfuckers were born enlightened. You ain't gotta. You're born as a race. You don't even have to go through any motherfucking esoteric shit and mysteries and initiations. You are born enlightened. That's hardcore. See. So now Coptic Egyptian Christianity comes from the Armenians. People don't understand that, but it does. Because if you look at Jerusalem, is there a Coptic Egyptian Christianity quarter in Jerusalem? No. What are the quarters in Jerusalem? That is the Jewish quarter, the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, and the Armenian quarter. That means the Armenians basically take up half of Jerusalem. They are responsible for the influence of what Jerusalem became, 50% at least. See? It also means that Christianity is not a product of Judaism. Judaism is a product of Christianity. So, now what does it mean to be a golden race person? What it means to be a golden race person is that you have about equal measure of every genetic of all the different races' genetics in you, about equal measure. So that would be what, 20% each, somewhere around there. I mean, don't be too goddamn white analytical about it. Just it's about right, okay. And what that does is that you have to remember genetics has a memory. That's a known fact, known scientific fact. It's a known scientific fact that memory is tied to IQ, or the intelligence quotient. So when you race mix in such a way, you produce genetics that have a higher level of intelligence. In other words, the ability to gather information. In other words, so a higher level of genetic intelligence. See? Now, this leads us to the exact reason why they try to commit genocide on Armenians, or they try to commit genocide on any European groups that they can tell in the past have probably race mixed with non-whites. Because those people are more psychic, they're more spiritually connected, they're more altruistic, they're more matriarchal, they're more fair, they're more egalitarian. I got friends from Eastern Bloc on my Facebook, cool as fuck. I mean, they talk shit to me, I talk shit to them, and then don't buy anything about the shit 5 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? That's a true friend. You know what I'm saying? So that is what you get from race mixing. You get the opportunity. I mean, you could be dynamic and amazing and white or any other color, but you have it's like laid to you on a silver platter when you race mix. See, and that's the reason why it's not the Illuminati. Well, it can be some of the Illuminati, but it's primarily the white supremacists. That's your culprit. It's the white supremacists that want to quell stuff like that. They want to discourage you from ever doing that you could love another person. So then in Europe, what they come up with in the last about 10 years, 12 years or so. Oh, multiculturalism is trying to eliminate us white people, and so you know, fuck that. We're gonna have to, you know, we can't be having brown babies, you know, all that kind of stupid shit. And so they got people infected with that dumbass shit over there, you know, in Europe and shit. You know what I'm saying? When the goal is actually to be golden, you know, because it's what Europeans had always done, you know. Like, look at the Greeks. I mean, look at the Greeks. The Greeks ain't white. Look at them. And you look at some of the, as you go back in Greek times, they were golden skinned. They had mixed with the Cometians, the Africans, the Egyptians, the Persians, the Ottomans. You know, so, you know, if I was you, I wouldn't believe the hype. You know, it's the order of the day is actually the unusual relationship, which leads me to one last good point. Now, through the internet, you want to try to establish love connections with other people. For me, I'm a man, so for me it's women. You want to try to establish love connections with other people that are unusual relationships. What's an unusual relationship? Let's say, for instance, well, for me, it would be specifically, let's say the girl is way younger than you, like 20 years, 30 years younger than you, 20 years, 25 years younger than you. I don't have no money. I got, you know, a couple bucks. I mean, I got, you know, bank cards and shit. But I'm saying I don't have no money. You want to try to establish a connection with a rich white girl. You want to try to establish a connection with a rich white girl, or a rich Persian girl, or a rich Turkish girl, or a rich Armenian girl, or something like that. So you want to go opposite. You see what I'm saying? You want to go opposite. So for me, it would be best would be, you know, a rich European girl that's Nordic type. See what I'm saying? Or, you know, but if that didn't work, then it, you know, like I've recently encountered, you know, a girl that's like half Greek, half Turkish. That shit's unbelievable. How fucking smart she is, how dynamic she is, how amazing she is. But it's also amazing how amazing, you know, German white girls are. But there's a joke told about German girls. It's very interesting. The joke is, you might not get it, I don't know, but the joke is, yeah, you love that German girl, but she might not have really loved you. I get it. So, because my ex-wife was German. So yeah, so the goal is to save the world. The goal is harmony and soul development, and none of that other bullshit. And the way to do that is you want to have an unusual relationship that is geared towards either recoupling of golden people, because those are the only people going to save the planet. I mean, all the megalithic technology around the world was built by golden people, because they're the only ones that would have the proper level of genetic intelligence to save their own selves. Like, for instance, the first period of ancient Egypt was called the period of the Neter roots, the divine principles incarnate, the principles of nature incarnate. And then the second, and so that first period lasted one precession of the equinox, so 25,920 years. So one precession of the equinoxes, okay? And then, so that's like 2,100 years each click of the zodiac. See? One click. Then, that next group that came about after them were called the Shimsu Hor. So, which means the sons of Horus. So all those people race mixed for 26,000 years and produced this golden race called the sons of Horus. Okay? And they're the ones that were responsible, and they're the ones that did it, that either rebuilt, built new, or repaired the megalithic technology that already existed on Earth for billions of years. Okay. So, so that's the actual goal. Ain't no white person ever gonna save the world. I mean, well, I don't want to put it like that. That's incorrect. Scratch that. Ain't no white person alone gonna ever have the proper genetic intelligence to build or operate megalithic technology that is designed to be operated by genetics. That is gold. That's the point. Ain't no black person gonna be able to do it either. To operate that technology of Kemet in Egypt and Mohenjo-Daro and Chichen Itza and Tenochtitlan and Uxmal and I'm going on and on, Machu Picchu, blah, 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 you have to be a golden person. If you're not golden, you're genetics. I don't give a fuck what you tell me. Okay? I'm the leader of the golden race. I don't care what you tell me. You ain't going to be able to do it. It ain't going to activate for you. It ain't going to work for you. You could try motherfucking forever. You can build fucking walls around it, fences so nobody can get in, so you can fit while you try to figure it out. It don't matter. You can even figure it out. And it still won't work. Because you don't have the proper genetics. And then behind that, you got to have a proper intent or focus of energy. See, God doesn't exist as we're taught. God is intent. God is the focus of energy. And unless you have those elements in place, like I just told you, you can forget about it.